everybody, and welcome to the Everything Voiceover Podcast. My name is Justin D. Torres. The Everything Voiceover Podcast is brought to you by The Voice Realm, where only professional voice actors are listed. All right, last week we talked about managing your expectations, and I think I talked last week about this voiceover university idea. Now, when I was thinking about it, I was like trying to figure out what would a makeshift voiceover university consist of if that's, because that's what we are doing. That's what we are trying to do here. We're trying to learn an upper level skill without actually having a university available. So we're trying to makeshift it out. You know, we're not paying any tuition, but we are paying for a lot of things. So let's take brass tacks for it all. Let's see. If you were going to a 4-year university, I took about 5 years for mine. So, think of it this way. You're a 4-year university. It takes you 4 years to graduate from this university. I went to college for film. And what did I do with it? Think about it this way. How many scripts did I write? How many scenes did I write? How many scenes did I perform? How many films did I make? I may have made 2 or 3 regular films, but was I working on other student films as well? Absolutely. How many theater scenes did I do? How many screenplays did I write? How many screenplays did I read? How many books did I buy? And how many books did I read? And all of those things in a university have the possibility of $0 payback. Zero money, nothing will come back from any of those. Nothing. You're kind of investing in yourself for a long-term payback of one day I'll be able to make films later in life, and that will be, that's where I'll get my money back, right? Because this is, higher education is higher education. And now no one said if I read this screenplay, if I read Magnolia, I'd get $50, So that's not the way it was. That's not the way it is, So if there was, let's talk year one. If you're in year one of voiceover university, first of all, training. You've got to do classes, and in-person classes. I keep telling you this every podcast. In-person classes trump online classes over and over again, because there's just something about being at home and being in front of someone. Being around other voiceover actors, that's very valuable. You're going to make friends, and those are going to be people that you're going to talk with. So your first year of training is taking actual classes. Taking actual classes in voiceover. Whether there's plenty up here in New York, there's stuff in LA, there's stuff in San Francisco. And if you do live outside the norm and you can't do anything else, then absolutely do an online course. I mean, I wish you could figure out a way to get up here and do the classes that we have up here, because it'll really help. And those are your first things. This first year is going to be taking a couple of classes, absolutely. Maybe 2 or 3 or 4 classes on the just intros to voiceover. Maybe an editing class, especially if you're going into the home studio realm, which I assume if you're listening to this podcast, that's what you're trying to do. And you're going to do pay-to-play sites, pay-to-play site auditions. And if you can't afford that, you're going to do ACX auditions. Try and get these audiobooks. But be careful, ACX is notoriously cheap in their contracts for audiobooks. I often think about if I was ever on a panel talking about pay-to-play sites, I would, at one point I might tell people, hey, does anyone realize how cheap ACX is? And no one's talking about that there's a possibility of doing only royalty only. I mean, isn't that ridiculous? You're making nothing. You're doing so much more work and you're making nothing. But, this is a first year of training, right? This is first year training. I was doing all those scripts. I was working on films without being paid at all. So, it's practice. You can't complain if you're getting practice in. So, ACX auditions, everything is practice to get your career started. Pay-to-play sites, they're all practice. And you supplement that practice. This is a first year, supplementing that practice with classes, in-person classes. And they can't be acting for like theater. They can't be acting for film, because that's not going to help you. You're wasting your time and money if you're putting those to acting with the assumption that it's going to help your voiceover. They have to be dedicated to voiceover and be And even better if it's a type of voiceover. If you took like an e-learning type of class to learn how to talk about how to speak in an e-learning language, then that's going to help you immensely, so that when you see the auditions, you'll be like, oh, I did it in that class. Maybe listen to what you did in that class and be like, I'm going to do it like that. And who knows, you might get the job. And any money you make in those jobs, this is your choice, of course, I would say reinvest it into your studio, maybe reinvest it into getting those classes, in-person classes, or, add some more sites on there for more opportunities to practice your functioning in auditions. And, in that first year training, you may actually buy an editing system and you'll definitely get the studio, a makeshift studio. You'll definitely get a little bit of a better computer, or a computer that works, or maybe upgrade parts of your computer and get like a microphone like this one I'm reading on right now, the Blue Raspberry. So, that's your first year. A lot of chugging, a lot of nothing coming back. It's going to be painful. You're probably not going to be doing very well at all. It's going to feel like you don't know what you're doing. As with most first-year university students, you almost think, oh, maybe I should change my major. So you go into your second year, and you might do more. You're definitely going to do more and more auditions, maybe even more intense auditions. You're going to be part of more sites, and you may want to make your own temporary demo using the work that you have done. You may want to upgrade your studio even more. Maybe put some acoustic blankets in there. You may want to upgrade your computer. Maybe use an SSD drive to speed up the old editing a little bit more. Maybe you'll get a Dropbox so that you don't have to upload everywhere, and it can constantly be on the Dropbox. You may want to, if you're like me in my first or second year, I was going to the Home Depot makeshifting with wood and like quilts, trying to makeshift this really cool, home studio kind of feel. You're trying to makeshift stuff, and then maybe you've moved on from Audacity and you're starting with Reaper and you're learning a new software. And that's crazy. And then you're taking even more classes, maybe second classes with the same person that's upgraded. Maybe it's instead of level 1, it's level 2. And maybe you're doing actual one-on-one coaching every now and then. Maybe once every 2 weeks, you pay the extra $100 or so to get an hour with someone who's trying to get your brand going, or someone's trying to, or just work on the voiceover acting in general. That goes amazingly. And maybe you're starting to think about casting directors or agents you want to work with, or starting to talk to fellow voiceover actors and starting to befriend the community and talking about them, and not being like all on Facebook. Maybe you're starting to befriend people nearby who do voiceover work, and you're going to check out their studio and trying to see and compare. And that's what your second year is. Now, before we get on to the third year, it'd be a good time to say that the Everything Voiceover Podcast is brought to you by the Voice Realm, where only professional voice actors are listed. Now we are into our third year. Things are getting a little bit more intense. You maybe have done about 5,000 auditions or more, and you've got a couple of jobs under your belt. I don't know, maybe 20 jobs, 30 jobs. And remember, you've been at it for about 2 years now. Maybe you've done about 20 jobs. Maybe you've done 50 jobs. Maybe you're doing really well, and maybe you haven't. So you got to think to yourself, in most third years, do I really want to do this? Have you been doing well? Do you want this to be your career? Does it seem like a bit of a stretch? Are you maybe part-timing it, and is that okay? Maybe you are part-timing it. Maybe you want to minor in something. Maybe you want to focus on e-learning. Maybe you want to focus on audiobooks. Maybe you want to really focus on commercial, because all those classes, maybe someone said, you'd be really good in, maybe you'd be really good in car commercials. So you start looking for how do I really delve into car commercials? Figure out what you really are good at, what the subsection of it, the minor of it. You start taking classes in that. And if you're taking classes in that, in-person classes, and then you're going to take some online classes, because these people are everywhere. Maybe you reach out to some voiceover actor who is doing the auto stuff and be like, hey, who did you study with? Can I study with them? Can you coach me for X amount of money per hour? I'll once every 2 weeks or something like that. And here's a little statement about the coaching. If you tell someone I'll pay you $100 for an hour, once a week, once every 2 weeks on Skype, that's a pretty good deal. So if they're like, oh, we need to do every week for at least 5 months, unless you're working with someone face to face, and they're a casting director and you're working towards a demo, there is zero reason for them to force you to commit to a certain amount every week. All right? There are certain people out here, if you're in New York and you're working with them on the classes and whatnot, like the people that I've worked with recently, Pat Fraley and Joan Baker. Those are people who kind of set a system going to try and get you to upgrade to who you are. Those are great if you're in person to person. But if you're talking to some rando out in LA and they're really good at what they do, the commitment should only be like, hey, I can do this X amount of times. Don't go tossing out all your money that you've made unless you really want to work with. If there are people who have not consistently put themselves out as like the go-to coach or the go-to voiceover coach in the industry, then make sure they're not trying to just get you hooked on for more and more money. This does happen a lot. Be careful. Especially, you want to have a demo reel at the end of the rainbow, but it has to be with a good person. All right? And the people around you are the fellow voice actors are the people who will help you with that. So you're in your third year, you're focusing on something, maybe e-learning, or like I said, auto. You've started to get like a mentor. You've started to figure out what you really want to do, and you're starting to like guess what your demo might sound like. Now, now you're about to start your fourth year. Your fourth year. I like to think of the diploma of a voiceover university is a demo reel. And it's a professionally made demo reel. And the whole point of a demo reel is that they're sending you off as a career into the world, and then you can send this little demo reel to an agency like Buckwald and all those and just send it to them, and they're going to be like, oh, this person, I need this person. Of course, 95% of demos, even made professionally, are not guaranteed agent worthy. Okay? And it's most of the time it's a waste of money. I'll be honest with you. Most of the time it's a waste of money. If someone's trying to sell their demo, producing capabilities on Facebook, then it's not necessarily legitimate. It doesn't feel like it's legitimate. I feel like I should be able to find these people through word of mouth rather than Facebook word of mouth. So it's a huge investment. It's the last big investment of the year. It's your internship. It's what you're doing. And if you want to get that demo reel done, my suggestion is you get it done with a casting director or an agent, but mostly a casting director, because that person's going to call you in for auditions. So you want it to be done with a good casting director, and those people, unfortunately, are usually in LA or New York City. Now remember, this is your fourth year. You've already invested so much time. Maybe you've got a little bit of a nest egg that you've been making a little bit of money with. So you're ready to do the next big thing. And maybe in this fourth year of you're starting to you've already upgraded your studio. It feels good. You're making a consistent, maybe once every 2 weeks you get a job here and there. You've got some repeat clients. Maybe you want to focus on certain audiobooks or things. You're starting to figure out where you fit in the voiceover industry. Mind you, it's been already 3 years of wandering around. So on this fourth year, you're going to start investing even more into your jobs, and that means also doing the one-on-ones, doing the classes. But it's not going to be just any kind of voiceover beginner classes. These are going to be classes that are very specific to advanced voiceover actors, whether it be learning the advanced versions of certain Reaper things, or maybe learning, you've already tossed out all the beginner stuff, and maybe you're using Adobe Audition, and you're starting to figure out where you fit in this industry. And on the other end of the spectrum, you're also working your demo. You're getting you're working with them working with a coach on a weekly basis to get that demo reel done and started. And they're a person and the reason why you're getting this demo reel done is not to go straight into agency, but also to get to network with people, with casting directors. The person you are doing your demo with should be able to hire you at some point, or at least be able to get you connections to agents. If they don't have connections to agents, and if they don't have someone to give it to, and if they don't have any of these, if they're not going to help you out any, then don't use them. Don't use them. I'm tired. I'm tired of seeing people be like, oh, I want to make my own demo. And then one person's like, don't ever make your own demo. It's stupid. It's crazy. No, that's not true. If this person is not particularly, if this person is not a professional, if they have their home studio and they want to just be able to put something out there that will give an example of what their studio sounds like, then don't be telling them not to do it. Don't be telling, because you don't understand where they're coming from. I hate that people try and do that. Like, someone says, I need to make my own demo, so I need scripts. And the person's like, oh, don't ever make your own demo. It's crazy. You'll lose clients because of it. And it's like, but the reason why they're making the demo is so they have an example. This is a possible reason. It's not the exact reason. I don't know what the reason was. But the demo should show, if you're doing the sites and the pay-to-play sites, and you want to show also how your studio sounds and the possibilities of how good your studio sounds. Because I tell you, if I've got all this radio DJ, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 106.5, and I've got a really great radio sound, and someone's going to listen to that, and they're going to be like, I want to hire that guy, and I'm going to do it in my little home studio that is not using like a Neumann and does not have a huge preamp just busting everything out, it's gonna not sound that good. You know, you want to be able to recreate it. So as these like people talk about how they want to make their demos, yes, make your demo with your studio. Hopefully it's with stuff that's actually worked as well, and make it your own, and it's okay. And eventually, when you get better and you want to start bringing want to start bringing your career to the next level, yes, go ahead and make a demo professionally. But don't do it just because someone tells you to. Here's the one thing about voiceover. Don't do anything because someone tells you to. Don't do anything. If anyone tells you you're wrong and they haven't asked you who you are and what your situation is, don't think that they're a professional in the industry. Don't think that they have any idea what your situation is. As with myself, these are just things that I'm thinking about, and these things from my perspective. These are just recommendations. And, I'm not the pro and all, I'm not the end-all be-all for all home studios. Absolutely not. And, if you're going to your 4th year, you might hire someone like George Whittam, the home studio professional, to listen to your demo and give you like a couple of effects to help you sound better. I've done it. I've put it on. It's on this voiceover right now, and it's helped immensely. I think it sounds much better. I think my voiceover sounds much better now than it did when I first started at everythingvoiceover.com. So you've finally gone through all this stuff. You've been trudging for about 4 years. Your demo's about to get out there. You're starting to shoot out your demo. On the back end, you're also doing auditions. You're doing more specific auditions. You're getting the jobs. You don't have to work part-time anymore as a waitress or something like that. And you're still trudging, There is no end. There is no end. I wish I could say that I could finally sit back for 4 weeks and not do any work and not do any auditions, and life is just gravy for me now. No, I am at that point where, in any career, just starting out, I'm at the journeyman point where I'm just doing a lot of jobs, I'm making money, and I'm trying to figure out where to get the other jobs. And that's it. So, if you end up wanting to enroll in this voiceover university, be prepared to be patient. Make sure it takes years to get started. And if you end up taking time off, realize that that's time off from your university. So make up that time, If you take like a year off and you're like, I'm not going to do this voiceover thing, and then you come back on, you got to start over again. So don't, the consistency will help, All right, well, this has been the Everything Voiceover Podcast. My name is Justin D. Torres. The Everything Voiceover Podcast is brought to you by The Voice Realm, where only professional voice actors are listed. Feel free to head to everythingvoiceover.com, check out our website, go to our YouTube page. We've got the pay-to-play shootouts that are happening right now that shows the numbers of auditions I've been doing. From my perspective, of course, not everyone is going to have the exact same perspective. And yeah, thanks for listening. And I appreciate everyone who's been listening. It's been a pretty good following. So yeah, take care, everybody. Have a great day.